Welcome to Tour Tuesday, everyone. Thank you so much for joining us. It's good to see so many familiar faces and a few new faces too, and a few cute backgrounds. I like these backgrounds. They get more creative each time. That's awesome. Um, so some of you might be having happy hour, drinking your dinner, eating your dinner, having dessert, or just sitting by and watching, whatever you do. We're just so thankful that you're joining us and you're taking time out of your busy day to hear what we have to say. It means a lot to us. And we've prepared a great presentation for you. We have three special guests actually. And we're not going to delay because we have three great tours to talk about. So first I will tell you who I am, because I sometimes forget to do that. And some of you that have been joining us or joining us for the first time may not know who I am. Who is this lady talking? I am Sandy Borowski. I am the third generation owner of Star Tours. Pleased to be with you today. I have the responsibility for our tour division. And we came up with this Tour Tuesday idea back during the days of COVID. And we've kept it going because you guys keep showing up, and that's just awesome. So it tells us that you want to hear what we have to say, and we know that we want to share information for you because a well-educated traveler is the best kind of traveler, and we want you to have accurate expectations of what you're going to experience on our trips, and we want you to be excited about booking or traveling on these trips. So that's why we're here today to tell you all about them. I've got a mixture of STAR staff, including travel advisors and tour directors on the call. We even have a special guest from accounting. I'll introduce her later. But first, we're going to start with an introduction. I'd like to introduce you to Peggy Coleman. Peggy is the Vice President of Tourism and the CVB Director, that's Convention and Visitors Bureau Director for Visit Ithaca. Say hi, Peggy.
Hi, everybody. I'm very excited to be here, and I did bring one of our waterfalls with me. What you see in my background is actually Taganic Falls State Park, and that will be one of the stops you have on our tour.
Awesome. I love it. Thank you so much for joining us. I'm going to kick it off and share our screen. Does everybody see the screen? For the Tour Tuesday. Awesome. I love the thumbs up. Thank you very much. So we have three tours to talk about. Like I said, we're going to start with Ithaca, New York, and Peggy's going to talk to us about that. Then we're going to talk about Wellsboro, PA, and Dark Skies, and Claire is going to talk about that. And then we're going to talk about our Agawa Canyon train tour, and Andy is going to talk about that. So without further ado, I'd like to introduce the Ithaca, New York trip. It's perfectly timed for the summer, July 30th through August 2nd. It's a 4-day trip. 7 meals are included. You can see the rates right there in front of you. I am so excited to be going to Ithaca at the end of this month for a convention. The Pennsylvania Bus Association is holding their convention in Ithaca, New York. It makes all the most sense, doesn't it? Well, the Pennsylvania Bus Association likes to support its members, and Visit Ithaca is a member, and they are welcoming us to show us how wonderful Ithaca is. So I'll be checking it out before you. But Peggy and her team have helped us plan this fabulous vacation. So Peggy, I will let you take it away.
Fantastic. Thanks, Sandy. And we are so excited to be hosting the Pennsylvania Bus Association annual meeting. It's easy to talk about things and to show pictures of things, but until you actually experience it yourself, it really comes to life for everyone. And we're so proud of our destination and can't wait to share it with you and your fellow members. And we can't wait to share this tour with all of you on this call. So thanks for joining us today. And we start out our tour. You're going to be traveling to Binghamton. They are known as the Carousel City for New York State. You'll have a nice lunch on your own, and then you'll head on up to Ithaca and begin with a walking tour of Cornell Botanic Gardens. Now, Cornell Botanic Gardens is on the Cornell University campus, but it is such a peaceful place you would not even know there was this bustling university all around where the Botanic Gardens are located. And any time of year is magical for the Botanic Gardens, but when you're going to be there in July and August, end of July, beginning of August, all of the gardens are going to be in bloom. So you're going to experience the herb gardens, and there's historic herbs and modern herbs, um, different things that were used to make paints and dyes for when the indigenous people were looking to have colorful clothing and things. You'll see different plants that were used then. You'll also see tags that identify all of the items that are in the gardens. It's a place that I absolutely love, and I feel like it's just a great way to immerse yourself in this beautiful nature in any time. So we can't wait to have you come into the Botanic Gardens. And then as we progress from the Botanic Gardens, we'll then head to your hotel, which is the beautiful Canopy by Hilton Hotel in downtown Ithaca. You'll be staying at the Canopy for 3 nights. Dinner is included at one of our fantastic restaurants, and I know Sandy and her team are going to pick out an exceptional one. The nice thing about the Canopy is the bar and lobby and lounge area, it's very open and very welcoming. So a lot of local folks like to go there for a happy hour or just to kind of chill and hang out. The name of the restaurant, The Strand, was named after one of our historic movie houses that was in that location many years ago. So there's a little bit of history involved with one of our newest hotels in Ithaca.
That's awesome.
And then after a great night's stay, you'll have a wonderful breakfast in the morning at the hotel. And then you're going to travel north up the lake to Romulus, New York. And Romulus is home to the amazing Deer Haven Park. Now, Deer Haven is located on what used to be the Seneca Army Depot. So if we have any veterans in the crowd, or if you know any, some of you may have done, some of them may have done their basic training here at this same facility. So there is a state park across the street from where the Deer Haven Park is. And the absolute capstone and what makes Deer Haven special is that they are the white deer. They are not your usual run-of-the-mill brown deer that you see on, hopefully not jumping in front of your cars on the road, but these really unique white deer, and it's really something to see. So I know you're going to enjoy that experience in the morning on day 2. And then from Deer Haven Park, you're going to head over to Knapp Vineyards for a little bit of wine tasting. Now, you know, Ithaca is in Finger Lakes wine country, and so it's important for you to taste the Finger Lakes. And Knapp has been family owned for many, many years. The tasting room team, they're really friendly and they're welcoming. And they also are known as kind of the fun winery, with some of their wines are known for their naughty labels, so to speak. And by naughty, it's more nautical, but they really have a great tasting experience. And I know you're going to enjoy that lunch and wine tasting. And then after Knapp, you're going to come back down the lake and have a narrated boat cruise on Cayuga Lake on the MV Teal. Now, the MV Teal is their mission is not only from a tourism perspective, but a sustainable ecological perspective. And so not only will you see the beautiful scenery that surrounds Cayuga Lake, but you'll learn a little bit more about what lives in our lake and on our lake and around the lake. And I know that Astrid and her team are going to take very good care of you on that tour. And then that's a pretty full day. So then you're going to head back to the hotel, and then you have dinner on your own. Now, this is a very strange fact, but Ithaca, New York has more restaurants per capita than New York City. And so you will have a lot of different options to choose from Ethiopian to pizza to vegetarian. The Moosewood restaurant is very famous. And most of these are walking distance from your hotel. So if you want to, right out half around the corner from the canopy is Aurora Street, which is known locally as Restaurant Row, right? That's where a big collection of local restaurants are located. And they're locally owned and operated. And many believe in sourcing locally and supporting our local beverage producers as well. So after having a giant dinner and getting all full, head back to the hotel for a great night's rest. And then you're going to have breakfast and then hop on the bus again, and you're going to head to Trumansburg, which is an absolute gem of a village, and it is home of Taganic Falls. Taganic Falls is the highest vertical drop waterfall east of the Rocky Mountains. It's 215 feet tall, and it's 3 stories taller than Niagara. And what I appreciate about this waterfall, as you can see on the screen, the image that's on our left, that is an overlook. So you can go and walk down to get a closer look. Or if you have some knees like mine that don't always like stairs, you still can have a really great view of the falls without walking down a bunch of stairs. So I know you're going to enjoy this. And we operate a visitor center right there at the overlook at Taganic Falls. And so if anyone's interested in a special Visit Ithaca souvenir to take home, that's a short community if you're interested.
I'm
So
wondering,
after
is there going to be a test at the end on how to pronounce all of these names like Cayuga and Tucannon?
So here's your clue for this particular waterfall. Don't panic, it's Taganic.
Okay,
Don't panic, it's
it's
Taganic.
Tucannon. Got it.
And
Everybody hear that? Got it?
and these names are obviously from our indigenous folks, the Gayacono Nation, who are still alive and active in the community. Gayacono is the indigenous pronunciation of Cayuga for our lake.
Ah, okay. Ooh,
There will not be a test on any of this, I
Phew.
promise you. So after we leave Taganic Falls, we're going to head to Interlaken. And this is a really sweet, very rural American town. And the highlight to me there, where you're going to go, is Lively Run Goat Dairy. So, it's cheese, it's goats. Who can go wrong? Seriously. This is family run. And we've found many of their cheeses pair really well with a number of our wines that are offered in the area too. So if you find a wine that you like to nap and decide to grab a bottle, the folks at Lively Run will absolutely be happy to tell you what goes best with which. The goat cheese is amazing. They also have a cheese is called Golden, I believe, and it's more of a hard cheese. So that'll be part of your tasting experiences. And then to just see the goats and to pet them, hug them, all the things. They're so much fun.
Awesome.
So after you have fun with goats, then you're going to get a little bit more into the women's part of this wine and women's tour and head to Seneca Falls, which is really the home of women's rights in our country. So as you get to Seneca Falls, you're going to have a little bit of lunch and then head over to the Women's National Hall of Fame. Now, some of the inductees, they just had their 30th induction at the Hall of Fame. And some of the inductees this year include Serena Williams from tennis fame, or Ruby Bridges, who was the first Black child who integrated in white schools in New Orleans. So it really does run the gamut of who is being honored in this Hall of Fame. I think you're going to find it interesting and inspiring. And a lot of times, a lot of women who are kept kind of in the behind the scenes this is where a light shines on these really amazing, powerful women who have helped all of us get to where we are today.
Definitely, they paved the way for sure.
Yes. And then, speaking about women who have paved the way, you will head to the Women's Rights National Historic Park. The first time I went there, it really gave me chills to think about who these people were and what they went through to struggle just for something that some of us take for granted, the right to actually vote, to own property, to have a job, for us to, be here and talk. It's really interesting and inspiring. The first convention dedicated to women's rights took place there in 1848. And it's just the conversations that took place, basically the vision for equality for women was based on our indigenous people, the Haudenosaunee system of government. So it's going to be inspiring and really educational. And I'm kind of a sucker for bronze statues. So that's another extra piece that I enjoy personally, and I hope you will too.
For sure.
So after the women's rights, you're going to be coming back to the hotel and again have an opportunity to explore Ithaca and have some sort of new dining experience that's going to hopefully thrill you. And you can refer to each other from where you went last night to then see where you might want to try out the next night.
Love it.
So yeah, so then we're still in waterfalls again. So on day 4, you're going to have breakfast at the hotel and then check out and then head to Buttermilk Falls State Park. Now, Buttermilk Falls, in Ithaca, we have more than 100 waterfalls and gorges in 10 square miles. So that's a lot of water. And Buttermilk is another very accessible place where you can see really impressive waterfalls. But this is more of a cascading, and it's called Buttermilk because in the spring, especially when the water is really, really roaring, excuse me, it looks like butter being churned, that milk in a churn moving. It has that view. And the piece of buttermilk, this feeds right into Cayuga Lake. So all of our waterfalls, they all come down and eventually feed into Cayuga Lake, which then flows north. So it's a amazing, gorgeous place. Somebody had said that when I first came on. Oh, Ithaca is gorgeous, and it really is. And we are so excited to be able to share our community with you. So after you leave Buttermilk Falls, then you head to our friends in Scranton, and I hope you're going to be bringing home a lot of really great memories.
There's no doubt that we will bring home great memories of Ithaca. Thank you so much. I really appreciate it, Peggy.
Thank you.
Before we finish up, I just want to talk to you about the last day. As Peggy mentioned, we're traveling through to Scranton. We'll have lunch at Cooper's Seafood, which is a very group-friendly place to eat. I've eaten there, and they have wonderful food. And then, because we've talked about wine, it's time to talk about beer. So we'll do a tour and tasting at Susquehanna Brewing Company. So, excuse me. You'll have a couple opportunities for the women part, a couple opportunities for the waterfall part, and a wine and a brewery opportunity for the wine part. So lots of great pieces of that itinerary. Does anybody have any questions for Peggy? I'm going to take a drink and maybe someone will think of something to ask so I don't have to talk right now. Come on. Well, Peggy, you must have done such a
I
great
have one,
job.
one, one question, Sandy. From what I remember about Seneca Falls, isn't that the town that where they filmed or they used it for the basis for The Wonderful Life?
Yes, it was filmed there, and it was absolutely based on the town of Seneca Falls. So thank you, Kathleen, for remembering that part of our history. And that was, I want to say now, it was maybe 3 years ago, where they had a 50th anniversary of that movie being filmed there.
Yeah, yeah, because
I
it's
did
on
not
the
know
flow.
that.
It's a lot of talk about it in the bridge and everything. The very
Yes.
famous bridge was right there in the neighborhood of where the Women's Center is.
Yes, that's true. And this is also the 100th anniversary of the New York State parks. And some of our parks were the first to be created in our state. So it is also really exciting that you get to enjoy them during this centennial year.
Oh, two bonuses. Absolutely. This tour, as I said, departs July 30th. The tour director is Lucille George. You may have met her on a previous tour. She's directed for us for years and years and years. We have more than a full bus already, 29 people booked. So we have about 23 seats left. So we still do have room, but July is, guess what? Next month. So it's crazy to say that out loud that July is next month, but it is. So if you are going to book on this trip, book it soon while we still have availability. We would love to have you.
Andy, I see in the chat that Ellen Ward had asked, how much is it for a single?
All right, great question. And I'm gonna go back since my I can't remember back that far. And I'm gonna share this screen. So if you want to screenshot it, 14.99 per person based on single occupancy and 11.99 per person based on double occupancy. Any other questions while Peggy is still here? Peggy, you did a fantastic job.
Wow.
I'm super excited
Thanks.
for my trip to Ithaca. I can't wait for all of you to experience Ithaca. Peggy gets to experience it every day, so she's the luckiest one of all.
I think so. It's been my pleasure to be here, and I'm really excited for the 29 folks who are already booked. That's exciting news, and I hope this inspires more of you to come. And if you do have other questions, please send them to Sandy and her team, and I'm happy to answer anything.
Absolutely, we sure will.
Thank
Thank
you.
you very much, Peggy. I
Thanks.
appreciate you joining us, and hopefully we'll see you again soon. I will see you at the end of this month.
Absolutely. Thank you.
Thank you. All right, we're going to move on to our next special guest. I would like to introduce Claire Ritter to you. Say hello, Claire. There she is. Claire is the motor coach coordinator at Penwell's Hotel and Lodge, but I have a different title for her. I call her the woman that knows everything about Wellsboro. And she truly does. She wears lots of different hats. Um, you know, I love to visit places before I build a tour, before you go. Claire invited me to Wellsboro, I guess about last June,
Yeah,
so a year ago. So I spent a few days in Wellsboro. Claire took me around personally, along with another few people from the industry. And she showed me all the wonderful places that you can see and things to do in Wellsboro. And hence, this is why we have a tour called Wellsboro, PA and Dark Skies, because I experienced it before you, and I thought my travelers will love this. We already know that everybody loves Wellsboro from A Dickens Christmas, where we have a holiday tour that goes to Wellsboro, and Wellsboro is transformed into A Dickens Christmas with a parade and a show. We send 2 sold out buses to Wellsboro each year for that. And I thought, you know what? Let's go to Wellsboro, not in December. So Claire was like, yes. And this time we're actually staying in Wellsboro, where on our Dickens Christmas we stay in Williamsport. So I don't want to ruin everything. I'll let Claire take you through it. But first, say hello.
Hi. Boy, what an introduction. I hope I live up to all the hype.
Pressure, pressure, pressure. All right. So our Wellsboro, PA and Dark Skies trip is September 27th through 29th, which means fall foliage time. That should be some great opportunity for fall foliage during the day. It's a 3-day, 2-night trip. It includes 5 meals, and you can check the prices out right there. $7.99 per person based on 2 people in a room, and $9.99 per person based on single occupancy. And it is now my pleasure to introduce you to Claire Ritter.
Hi, everyone. Thank you so much. For those of you that may be familiar with Wellsboro because of the Dickens Festival, while you have seen Dickens, you probably didn't really see Wellsboro because we get hidden behind all of the booths and all of the things and the trappings of the Dickens Festival. And there is so much more to Wellsboro. So on your way up, you're going to stop in Williamsport, which is just about an hour from us, and you're going to have some lunch on your own before continuing up to Wellsboro. And once you arrive in Wellsboro, you're going to have a chance to just actually see and experience our Main Street. The pictures here give you a little idea of what we have. Wellsboro has a couple things that they're really known for. One, we are small town Americana personified. All of our Main Street shops are mom and pop. We don't have any big chain stores. We don't have any big souvenir shops. You're going to find things that locals are looking for when they go shopping. Our gas lights line the street. You see them here. This is actually shown a little bit later in the season. Around Thanksgiving, all of the gas lights are decorated with corn husks, stalks, and pumpkins by the high schoolers. And then you guys see the Christmas trees when you come at Dickens. The lower photograph, you may be wondering why on the median there's some upside down lawn chairs and blankets. In June, we celebrate the Pennsylvania State Laurel Festival. Mountain laurel is our state flower. It's a huge festival. On Saturday, there is a massive parade. And by Thursday afternoon, you're allowed to start saving your spots. And yes, people put out their lawn chairs and blankets starting Thursday morning, and they stay there all the way through parade date on Saturday afternoon. You do not mess with anybody's parade spots.
Is that this weekend coming up?
2 weekends from now.
2 weekends.
So it's
okay.
This year, it's always the 3rd weekend in June. So this year it's the 14th and 15th. Quick plug. We do have a tour bus program for Memorial Festival, which would get you guaranteed seats to see this.
All right. If you got, if our travelers tell me they want to check it out, I'll build it.
So then you're going to have free time to check out our shops and things along Main Street. All buses that come through Wellsboro do receive special coupons that offer you discounts at our businesses. You'll be checking into the Penwells Hotel. You see the lobby here behind me. It is the newer of our 2 buildings. And then after you're checked in and you get all settled, we're going to be having dinner at our historic hotel, which is just down the street. And then the reason we're calling it I'm calling it the Starry Star Tour. That's just my personal name.
Oh, I like that. The Starry Star Tour.
But not just about 45 minutes from Wellsboro is the Cherry Springs State Park. And Cherry Springs is a certified dark skies park. That means they've come out with special equipment and they have measured the light pollution. The reason we don't see a lot of constellations and stars and everything along the eastern seaboard are all the big cities. So New York, Philadelphia, Washington, all the light pollution just from our street lights and everything that are on all the time. Cherry Springs is far enough away from all of those that it gains this moniker of being a dark skies certified park where there is amazing views of the night sky. And the DCNR, which is the Department of Conservation of Natural Resources for the state of Pennsylvania, runs programs up there with telescopes. A lot of people bring their own, but you as a bus group would come, you'll be greeted by one of the rangers, you'll be given some basic instructions. There is no bright light allowed. You'll have coverings for flashlights, and you'll be given some whatever is visible in the night sky, some maps and some directions as to how to spot things. The images you see here include the Milky Way, which not everybody gets a chance to see.
It's pretty cool. I did a dark skies activity in Sedona last year, and they have apps that you can download on your phone, and you point to the stars in the sky and it tells you what you're looking at. So this is like totally interactive stuff that for those stargazers, and just even those that aren't normal stargazers but think it would be pretty cool like me, it's a really neat thing to do. And there's a park staff that will take us through all that we need to know. Awesome.
And then once you've had your time there, you'll come back to Wellsboro, to the hotel for a good night's rest. Day 2, you're going to get up. Breakfast is included at the lodge. We do have a standard American breakfast there, and you're going to travel about 45 minutes to Ulysses, Pennsylvania, and you're going to visit the Pennsylvania Lumber Museum. A lot of people think, why would I go to a museum about lumber? But the Lumber Museum tells an amazing story of our region. We were the center of the lumbering industry in northern Pennsylvania. Our mountains were actually clear cut of lumber. We took every imaginable tree off of our hills. And it was quite a culture that worked together between the lumberjacks and the bark peelers. Yes, that was their actual name. They were bark peelers, as well as other industries that grew out of the lumber industry. This is a state museum. It does an amazing job of helping you see and understand how lumbering started, how it decimated the forest, and now how it is a great proponent of conservation and ecological, environmental, responsible lumbering. Because we do still need wood. So it's a great stop.
Yeah, and it's I was there. I really liked it. It's, of course, there's this beautiful building, but there's also some outbuildings as well. So it's kind of a sprawling setup that I thought was great.
Yeah, you'll have an opportunity to see buildings that examples of the mills and how those would have run. They have a Shea locomotive that was used as well, and information about the Civilian Conservation Corps that was responsible for a lot of the replanting of our forests. And then you will leave there. You'll all be hungry and thinking about trees. You're going to learn about another industry that relates to that, and that's maple. I don't know how many of you have a taste for real maple syrup, not log cabin or any of those table syrups, but Patterson Maple Farm. There's a lumber. Patterson Maple is the largest maple producer in the state of Pennsylvania. They are a commercial business. They've been in the same family for 4 generations. Terry and Terry, yes, Tarry and Tarri, married couple, run the business now. They have a great setup there to show you how maple is tapped and brought in from the trees, both historically and how they do it now as a large industry. You'll have an opportunity there for lunch where you'll get to taste their products, both in syrup and other forms, with ham and sausage and pancakes. Very filling, very good, along with the beverages. And they have a shop. So along with the tasting, you'll be able to bring home with you some great examples of maple products.
I did the damage in that shop.
Maple is kind of, yeah, once you get hooked on it, you're hooked. So yeah. I mail it to my daughter in Texas because they don't have maple syrup in Texas.
Well, it's so expensive too. Like, but when you buy it there, it's so less expensive. So I'm saving money.
You learn why it's an expensive product, because it takes a lot to make. But you also need a lot less of it. It's a natural sugar that has great flavor, and you'll use much less of it than you would think because it's got flavor.
Good to know. Good to know.
And then when we're done there, we're going to send you back in to Wellsboro for the evening. You're going to have dinner on your own in town. We have multiple restaurants along our main street that are all walkable from the lodge. From your, dare I say, generic Chinese food. We have several brew pub type restaurants, as well as the Steakhouse, which is the name of our steakhouse. The Steakhouse. If you're looking maybe for a nicer, finer dining experience right in town.
Awesome.
Day 3, breakfast again, and you're going to check out with I believe you guys will have our luggage service. You'll have your bags out and we'll get them all loaded on the bus before you travel to Leonard Harrison State Park. Did you know that Pennsylvania has a Grand Canyon? Not a lot of people do, but the Pine Creek Gorge is about 60 miles long and about a mile deep. Leonard Harrison State Park is the main viewing area where most guests do like to go. The top picture shows you looking kind of to the south, and the bottom one is one of the lookouts. It's fairly accessible. It's all paved. You see it from the top, so you're looking down into the gorge, a mile down. DCNR, again, usually has representatives available when we have groups come in, and they'll be available to answer questions. Sometimes we see wildlife. Sometimes we see bald eagle. Last fall, I actually saw 2 one day when we were out there, so that was really exciting. They are repopulating in the Pine Creek Gorge. There should be a gift shop there. It's supposed to be reopening this week, and so you'll be able to pick up that special little souvenir. And then when you're done with us in Wellsboro, you're going to head back to Williamsport. Now, you stop there for lunch on the way up, but on the way back, you're going to take a slightly different route up to the Little League World Series Museum and Store. Little League started in Wellsboro, in Williamsport. I just want everything in Wellsboro. And they are the home, if you watch it at all, it takes place in August. So it'll be just ahead of when you guys were there. You watch, I think usually ABC, I think, carries those games, or ESPN. Children come from all over the world to play in Williamsport. The town just becomes an amazing amalgamation of cultures and languages. The museum tells not only the story of Little League, but of the various people who have played in Little League, not just in the World Series, but in Little League in their own. And really is a proponent for why Little League helps build better people. So they don't all go on just to be baseball stars. They grow on to be politicians and scientists and actors. And this is something that gives them the confidence to go chase those dreams. And then a box lunch there before you head home.
Awesome. Awesome. Thank you so much, Claire. That it sounds awesome, but I can also tell you, since I've done all of the aspects on this trip, it truly is awesome. I hope you guys are as excited about it as I am, as Claire is, to share the information with you. Do you have any questions for Claire about this trip? You were very thorough. You were very thorough.
Well, I hope it works as an added incentive that you will see me around all the places where we go. I'll be doing
She'll be checking us in at the hotel.
Yeah, I work for the hotel. But I'll be sharing history of Wellsboro and the area with you as well when you're here. So it's not just a bus ride. You're going to get personal experience when you're here.
Awesome. Awesome. Thank you very much for joining us this Tuesday evening. We very much appreciate it. And I will see you at the, am I seeing you at the Pennsylvania Bus Association? All right.
I will be there.
Yep. Yeah, we just go and see old friends when we go to these industry meetings. We do work, I promise. All right. Well, thanks again, Claire. We're moving on to our next tour, which is the Agawa Canyon tour, the feature being the train tour. We're traveling to Ontario, Canada, and I have a very special guest to present this tour. Andy Byers was the tour director from last year's trip, so I thought it would be a great idea for her to take us through that trip and share exactly, what happened, how they did, what to expect. And Andy was set to present to us tonight, but she had to go out of town unexpectedly. So we pre-recorded it this weekend before she left. So I'm going to play our tour, our Tour Tuesday for you. And then if you have any questions, I have a very special guest, Kathy Dolly, Hi, Kathy. If you've ever gotten a refund check from Star, it likely has Kathy's signature on it. Kathy is our director of finance. She does all of our accounting. How many years with Star, Kathy? Oh, hold on. I gotta unmute you because everyone needs to hear that. Hold on.
I've been with Star for 47 years.
That's a really long time. And when
That's a
she's
long
only
time.
49, it's amazing. So I like it's awesome to have you here. So Kathy, if you have any questions about this tour, since Andy couldn't be with us, Kathy, who was a guest on this tour last year, will hopefully be able to answer those questions. I'll try to, but all right, so here we go. Let's see how this goes. So let me first share my screen. Let's see how well I can do this. Okay. Give me a thumbs up. Can you see me? All right. And then wait until you hear my voice and give me another thumbs up. All right, everybody. We are here to talk to you about Agawa Canyon. And we pre-recorded this because we have a very special guest for you. Andy Byers was the tour director of last year's Agawa trip, and I thought she would be the perfect person to tell you about this year's Agawa trip. And she couldn't join us Tuesday night, so we pre-recorded this. We think for sure this is going to be a great experience to hear right from Andy, who was, again, the tour director on this trip last year. So hi, Andy.
Hi, everyone. How are you? Thanks for joining. This is my favorite trips. Sorry, Sandy.
I know it's one of your favorite trips, Andy, because you so wanted to do this trip this year. I can't do it. You can't. There's not enough days in the year.
I know. Darn it.
So Andy will probably be doing it again in the future, but she couldn't make it this year to Tour Tuesday or to the Agawa Canyon trip. So I'm going to introduce the trip itself, and then I'll let Andy take you through day by day. We're super excited to share this trip with you. This is called Agawa. Am I saying it right?
Agua. I usually
Agawa. Okay, Agawa. It's Canada, everybody. It is our Agawa Canyon train tour trip. It's in the beginning of September. This is a little bit of a shift from last year. You may actually see some leaves changing color, which is super, super exciting. It's a 7-day, 6-night trips. We've got 7 meals for you. If you're traveling 2 people in a room, the price is $19.99 per person. And if you're traveling single or solo, although you know you're never alone when you're on a Star tour, the price is $25.99 per person. So I'm going to share my screen so you can see that all for yourself. You can take a screenshot of it however you'd like, but you'll see it's the beginning of September. And we're going to kick it off, and I'm going to ask Andy to take us through this trip day by day, starting with day 1.
Yay. Thank you so much. I appreciate the privilege. Well, first of all, from the minute you got on the coach, as you know, you're taken care of. And we are just starting our way west and then north. And our first stop, of course, we will have lunch en route. And there's, I'm not sure where they've scheduled this year. We have a lot of different places that we like to stop. And it's usually, as you know, right around 12:30, between 12:31, depending on when we can get in. But that evening, we actually are traveling to Elyria, Ohio. Now, that might not be a city that you know the name of or have ever heard of before. It was huge, huge in the automotive industry. And so what that means is we are staying at a Hampton Inn, but it is not a typical Hampton Inn. I am telling you, the rooms are lovely. And I kept thinking, how is this possible? We're in the middle of Ohio. Well, which is my home state, but it's still in the middle of Ohio. And it's because, of course, the auto industry was there, and they had a lot of people visiting to support that industry. We check in there, and that night, we actually last year went to the Olive Garden as a group. Now, there are other restaurants that you can get to, but we wanted to stay together and start to build our camaraderie as a group. And as you know, if you've eaten at the Olive Garden before, which probably you have, that you can get anything there, from pasta to fish to beef to you name it, chicken, they've got it. And so they welcomed us in, fed us nicely and promptly, and then we got back into our hotel for a good night's sleep. By the way, when we are there, I want you to know that you will be pulling your own luggage on the check-in, but not the check-out. So we have breakfast at the hotel. Now that's pretty much a typical breakfast. So you can count on some sort of egg, some sort of yogurt. There's probably cereal and fruit of some sort there. And then you actually will have your bags pulled for you in the morning. And then we're traveling to Frankenmuth, AKA Christmas America in Frankenmuth, Michigan. And from the minute you hit the outside of that town, you know it is Christmas America. It just is decorated accordingly. But it's also very much like a Swiss or Bavarian village. And it's charming. There's just no other word to describe it. It's charming. Every building has something that makes you feel like you have gone international, and all we've done is driven a few hours. When you cross the bridge going into town, if you turn to the right, you're going to see the boat that's actually on the slide here, and where we actually will be catching that boat or walking onto the boat. And so that'll give you some of your bearings. We then pull into town and we go to the parking lot of one of the very famous restaurants in that town. It's the Bavarian House. And I will tell you that half our guests got off the coach and marched right in and had a Bavarian meal for lunch. Many of us, though, walked the town, the majority of it, to see where do we really want to eat. And as a matter of fact, I ended up eating there, but outside, because they have a patio outside at almost a second level that kind of gives you a bird's eye view. And there were several of our guests there, and they asked me to join them, and we just all sat and had a lovely lunch. From there, you then walk, I'd say about a block and a half from our drop-off point, two at the tops, to where we actually pick up the boat. And there, even there are tiny little shops. I had to drag people out of the ice cream shop to get them on the boat. They were so excited about the ice cream, but it was very warm that day. We were traveling. The boat ride on the Cass River was fabulous. And it was narrated so well. And the rivers in Michigan have clear bottoms because they're sand. So they're not like some of our eastern rivers where they're real muddy. So believe it or not, you can see. And people were jostling, but moving on their different parts of the boat, even though you get to see both sides because we come back the same way we go upriver. But it was a wonderful experience. We got off the boat and then we actually moved right back to the coach and we drove to the Drury Inn to check in. Now, I will tell you that some people stayed in town and actually walked to the Drury Inn, because you can see by this bottom slide that its architecture fits right into the Bavarian or Swiss style. If you haven't ever stayed at a Drury Inn, you're in for a real treat. They have something they call a kickback. And I am telling you, once you've had a kickback, everybody's looking to stay at the Drury Inn. What it is this. It usually starts about 5 or 5:30. You'll have to check me on that time. But they put out a complete spread of, supposedly it's just hors d'oeuvres. People don't even go to dinner. They just eat there. There's everything from hot dogs to baked potatoes with all the fixings, to pasta, to salad, to fruit. I know I'm missing something. I can't even.
Popcorn. I love their popcorn.
Oh, I do too. You're right, Sandy. That I have to take to my room to tell you the truth. And then the other thing that many guests love is they get a ticket that qualifies them for 2 alcoholic beverages. The soda or pop, if you're from the Midwest, any carbonated beverages they don't require a ticket. You can have as many refills as you'd like, but the ticket will serve you for 2 beverages. And then that usually closes down. I think it's about 2 hours. And people are then ready to go to bed because you know what? It has been a long 2 days there. And there, again, if you want to go out to dinner, you're just doorstepped out the door and there is Frankenmuth. So you can eat your heart out either there at the Drury Inn or go out for a meal, whatever makes you happy. The next morning, of course, we have the same type of breakfast, a wonderful spread, and it is in the same location, which is always on the first floor, ladies and gentlemen. It's right across from the lobby. And you end up making friends with people that are either on our coach or just staying at the hotel. We check out from there, though, and we are off and running, and we are traveling to Mackinac City, further north in Michigan. Now you're thinking Mackinac. No, we're not going to Mackinac Island. That's another tour, but you're going on this one, and it is just as great, maybe better in some respects. Anyhow, shouldn't say that, but it's the truth. So Mackinac City. Well, here's the scoop. I like to give you the inside details. We pull around to the back. We drive down the main drag. It's not a real big city. You'll actually see the ferry that goes off to Mackinac Island. And then we pull around and we park right by this really great store. So if you need sweatshirts or souvenirs, you walk through there, shop your heart out. They're always having a sale. And this year, when this tour is scheduled, they're sure to have some sales. And then you can walk through that door and out on the main drag. I will tell you that a lot of people will just nibble. They're not super hungry because they've had so much for breakfast, but make yourself happy. There's an ice cream store around the corner. There's some local eateries, and it's just a great place to wander. There's also a museum there that you can look. It's just 2 blocks to the left as you go out that front door of that store. Also, a lot of people will grab a sandwich and go sit on the benches and sit by the water. It's lovely. It's relaxing. And really that's what you're doing during your free time. See the photo on the bottom, as well as the one on the top. That's how it's set up. It's like a little village. So you've got plenty of places to sit on a bench and just relax. There is a photo op, by the way, outside that store where we pulled up. I think it's a giant grizzly bear or a giant eagle. So be sure and get a photo op there. And then we get back on the coach and we're crossing the bridge and we're going into Ontario, Sault Ste. Marie. We'll stop at the border, and you know how that works. So be sure and make sure, and I'm sure your tour director will have checked already, you're going to want your current passport. Every crossing into Canada is different, depending on what's going on in the world and where we're crossing. Many times they're a little bit more particular here than they would be, say, in Niagara Falls, because they don't get the same volume that Niagara Falls would get as far as international travelers. But you'll have no problems at all, and they're very courteous. Remember, don't chat them up. Just smile nicely and hand them your passport. There you go. And then we're across the border, and you're going to stay at one of the nicest hotels. We're here for 2 nights. It's the Delta Hotel. They'll greet you wonderfully. Take your bags. Now, I want to tell you about taking your bags. Please, please don't pull your bags unless you tell your tour director, because we have a count on those bags. And if the bell person is looking for a bag and they don't have the right number, then they're panicked. And oh, by the way, we could panic too. So we don't want that to happen, please. Also, they operate on a little bit different time schedule than we do. So don't be impatient. Just enjoy the hotel. And I will give you a hint. The restaurant there is fabulous. They have an indoor restaurant and an outdoor restaurant. The outdoor restaurant gets packed because it's right on the water. It is a real trendy place. So while you're waiting for your luggage, if there are two of you, go get reservations so you can get a table for dinner. That's my clue. And then you're on your own for dinner, and the rooms are well appointed. You're going to love this hotel.
Looks beautiful. I love the Delta hotels. It's a Marriott property.
Is it now? I didn't know.
Yeah, Delta's a Marriott property. Yeah.
Thank you. Yes, there. And then, oh my gosh, here we go. This gives me goosebumps. I love this train ride. Now, we are on the train for a full day. And what this is you board the train, and what happens in the morning is, okay, we've got all our tickets, you're ready to go, and you line up, and there is someone there to tell us where to stand because we want to get on a certain car, and they're real good about helping us on there. Once you get in there, then take your seats. They will be distributing or calling you into the if club car, if you would, for breakfast, because you're going to have a boxed breakfast. And then you want to sit back and just enjoy the sights. One of the things I love about this train ride is it's really very prime. It's almost like primeval up there. You're going to find people that when we go up there, there's one train ride a day, one up and us coming back. And this is the big event for some of these people that are living there. They literally come to the track and wave to us. And I mean, this is the event of the day because it is very, very, well, it's primeval is all I can think of the word to use. We're talking all kinds of woods, beautiful greenery. You'll see the lakes like that are on the bottom of this slide. You're going to have to glimpse them. Now realize there's not a right or a wrong way to sit, because if you're on the right side going back, decide whether you want to be front or back, whatever works for you. You're going to be on the back unless somebody trades with you coming back if you're sitting on the front going up. But I think that what I really want you to realize is this. When you get to the end, it's not like a resort. We're talking wilderness here. So it is beautiful. You've got the opportunity, if God have come, and the waterfalls will be very flush and going, but there are 2 or 3 waterfalls that you can walk to. The trails are clear and marked. There are picnic tables for you to sit and eat your box lunch and just enjoy it. Some people have brought books with them to kind of sit and read and meditate because they're not big walkers, and there are benches along the way. I always try and find a little secluded spot and just sit and think and reflect. May I also suggest that you bring, again, I say a book or a deck of cards, because on the ride home, what you're seeing is the scenery again, but you may want to just rest. So take that time to, bring a book or a deck of cards, something that maybe you and your friend will go to the club car and play. The only other thing, and they will tell you this, is when you get to the highest peak, you're going to be able to see 2 of the Great Lakes at the same time. That's like so.
We can't hear her.
Can't hear.
Sandy, I think we lost the sound on the video.
I think Sandy left.
I think that, hold on.
Michigan. And I am here to tell you, this is probably.
Can you hear it now?
Yes.
Is the most popular video.
I know what happened. I hit mute.
In the neighborhood.
Shit, man.
Well, and then we're again having our breakfast. We do feed you at Star. There's no doubt about it. You can't say you go hungry. And then we're back in. We're stopping through customs again, and we're headed back into Sault Ste. Marie, Michigan. And I am here to tell you, this is probably, next to the train ride, this is the most popular venue of the whole tour. And I love it. You will too. We actually get on a boat and we go through the locks. And it's not like the Suez Canal where it's mammoth. It's just the right size. So you can actually see the action going up and going down. And last year, there were 4 little kayakers that were in ahead of us. So we kind of had to wait our turn to go through the locks. The captain of the ship narrates beautifully. You're going to see all sorts of things. You're going to see shipbuilding. You're going to see all, again, just all sorts of interesting sights in the Sault Ste. Marie water area. And then we're back aft the boat and we're on our way for lunch. We then travel to Troy, Michigan. We check into the Hilton Garden Inn at Troy and dinner's on your own. Now, there are oodles of restaurants around. So to tell you the truth, your tour director of the day will give you some suggestions on which is close enough for you to enjoy. Some people are full, they just want to stay in their room. But let me tell you, next morning you have breakfast and you check out and you are headed to Grosse Pointe Shore, Michigan. In other words, AKA Henry Ford's Greenfield Village. This is magnificent. It almost takes 2 days. Well, not really. I'm sorry, Sandy, but if you're a history buff, you really love it. What can I say? I want to see everything.
I had so much fun when I visited this attraction. It was great.
Isn't it fabulous?
Yeah.
Here's my insider tip, which I always like to tell people. Take the train ride. Take it first. It gives you an overview of the entire property, and then you can stake out what you really want to see, where you want to eat, and go from there. It will be busy, there's no doubt about it, but that's perfect. You're traveling at an excellent time. But don't forget, take the train ride. And then, do you see down at the bottom slide, do you see the Model T? I think that's a T, not an A. You can actually buy a ticket and ride on that. It's such fun, you guys. It really is. You'll see farms. You'll see just kind of what Henry Ford wanted it to be. I mean, he really wanted the people to understand how strong our country was and that we made our country. And it was by all the hard work of what people did every day. And so that was one of his strong suits, I would say. I'm trying to think of what else I would tell you there. It just went so fast, to tell you the truth. Well, what can I say? And then we're back on our fabulous star coach. And oh my goodness, I've had a lot of comments lately from a lot of different people about how wonderful our coaches are, how clean they are, and how comfortable they are. And that's credit to you, Sandy, and all the staff that really makes that happen. We've got some great drivers as well. Isn't it true? Really, believe me, I can attest to that. We actually just pull a reversal now, ladies and gentlemen. We're headed home. And so that means that we'll travel again to Elyria. We're going to check into the Hampton Inn, dinner on your own. We'll get up for breakfast and we're headed home. And you're going to go, Yahoo! I had a fabulous time. And I know you will.
This is such a great trip. 2 boat rides, obviously a full day train ride, and then Greenfield Village, the train. So, and of course a bus ride, lots of bus rides. And I just remember, I think I've told everybody, I read every single comment, from every single survey that comes in. And this trip, was really well loved. Funny enough, I think the Sioux Locks boat tour and the Agawa train were like neck and neck in what people have loved in the past. And they have a great time on this trip. So thank you so much, Andy, for taking us through this. You're clearly excited about this trip. I know you wanted to do it this year, and I know the timing didn't work out, but it'll be back for you in the future, I'm sure. And your excitement is certainly infectious, to me and hopefully to everybody else that's watching. So Thank you again for doing this. How about her enthusiasm? Clearly she's excited about this trip. So I hope you guys found that helpful. Sorry, dog was barking, thought I could put it on mute, and should have thought that no, you were hearing my the pre-recorded Tour Tuesday. So apologies for that. Does anybody have any questions about this trip? Like I said, Kathy Dolly is on the call. So she's more than willing to answer any questions. I'm happy to help as well. You guys, you're good listeners. What can I say? No questions. All right. Well, okay, so we're gonna go back. We're gonna share our screen again. Oh, I want to let me before we move totally on from Agawa Canyon. The departure date is September 2nd. The tour director is Martha Costa. And right now we have 11 people booked, right? So we're looking for, minimum of around 18 or 20 to send this trip. So if you're thinking about booking, book now. And then I forgot to tell you about the Wellsboro Dark Skies counts. And just to recap, that Wellsboro trip departs on September 27th. Your tour director is Kathy Gillespie. She's here with us today. That trip has 16 people booked, so just need a few more and looking for around 20 for that to go as well. So if you're thinking about that trip, now's a good time to buy it. There was a question, what was the price of the trip? Here's Agawa Canyon. If you need the Agawa Canyon prices, take a quick screenshot of that. And then try not to get you guys too dizzy. But there's the Wellsboro, PA, and Dark Skies prices, $7.99 and $9.99. So let's go to show you this lovely picture. Sandy and Samantha are here to take your reservations, or you can book online on our brand new website that we just launched, oh gosh, about a week and a half ago. So, or maybe it was just a week ago. I can't remember. But we have an all new website, which, gosh, that would take me a whole other Tour Tuesday to talk about, but you can book and pay online. You can even book by just making a deposit for your multi-day trips. We have got a special Tour Tuesday coming up June 25th. This is a special edition. We'll be talking about our trip to Costa Rica, to Paris, Normandy, and Chateau Country, as well as a Tulip Time river cruise. Our first river cruise. We'll be cruising the Rhine. So we're really excited about that. And this talks about our Facebook groups. I know you guys know that. Oh, but it's now time for our gift card winner. And our winner today is Lynn Miller. Lynn, if you're still on the call, congratulations. We're going to put $25 in your account. And you can use that at any time, even online if you want.
Thank you.
Oh, you're welcome.
I am here.
You are here. Awesome. Awesome. I thought there was Nancy had a really good question that I'm going to answer. How is dark skies if your experience affected if it rains? So we should have talked about this. So it's a really great question. And I'm glad you brought it up, Nancy. We planned the dark skies event for Friday night. So if it rains on Friday, then we can push it to Saturday. So that's why we're doing it on the first night. And then we have that free night on the Saturday. So we can just flip flop the day for the dark sky. So hopefully it won't rain both nights. I mean, I'll call and talk to the weather people, see what I can do. But there is a plan B for that. So great question. Great question. I want to thank our presenters today, Andy and Claire, and Peggy for being with us. Thank you to the STAR staff for being on the call. Samantha, Evie, Kathy, I think Martha's on the call somewhere too. So we really appreciate, oh, Kathy Dolly, both Kathys, Kathy Gillespie and Kathy Dolly. Thank you guys so much for being on the call, and I'll see you June 25th. And then of course we'll have another Tour Tuesday, I believe on July 9th. So make sure you go to the website, check it out, and join us. It's great to see you, and thank you all for coming. We really appreciate. Bye.
Thank you. That was great.
Oh, you're welcome.